briefly, I'll go over the contents of the box. So again, the model number, it's a UUQ Eagle C28 for RMR, but obviously it works on more than just an RMR. You have your cover if you're going to be transferring it or something and you want to protect the lenses. That's not a bad idea. You have a bag for the Optic to come in, and then you have extra batteries. That's useful. This battery right here, the battery that this runs off of is a CR1632 3V, so just slightly different than the 2032. A little different, a little smaller actually. Then you have an additional base plate, and that base plate in there is going to fit so many models of things. That's a really nice thing to throw in there. That feature alone makes it very compatible with lots of devices. Read online for more of the specs to find out if that's compatible with yours. Also hardware, different depth mounting hardware, and all the tools I think you're going to need to make this thing work. Then there's the manual, which is very useful, especially if you've never zeroed a red dot before, you've never used one. This is a useful manual, and it's going to tell you all about your product, how to use it, and then what to do for warranty. You can follow UUQ online. They do have an online following. Here's your warranty card. You can check that out. There is a QR code there to find out more information. It's a 1-year warranty, okay? 1-year warranty. You have a lens cleaning cloth, which I tend to use quite a bit when it comes to red dots in general because they're always dirty. And then some silica to keep it dry. So obviously this footprint with the Picatinny attachment works well on this little Scout style rifle. This is actually a Ruger American Ranch in 300 Blackout. And so a red dot makes a decent amount of sense if you're going to do some close range shooting, hog shooting, small varmint, something of that nature. It's a real handy rifle. And this is a very small optic, but it has a generous size window, which I'm going to show you next. All right, so now we're behind the rifle, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can get a better picture of what that dot looks like. So to my eye, it's going to be a little tighter because of the way that camera focuses work. Maybe I can bring it in just a touch for you there. So a little sharper anyways. You can see that there's a decently generous size window. I would say the contrast is definitely sufficient. The size is sufficient for picking it up and having it stand out against its backdrop, whether that's something close or a little bit further away. I don't feel like it's so big that it gets, to the point where it's covering up the target, and I don't think it's so small that I really have trouble distinguishing it from the target. All right, looking at the top view, here's your elevation, and obviously it tells you twisting to the left is going to go up, and then twisting to the right is going to make it go down. On the top you have, this is where the cast is actually coming from. This right here, this is your emitter. And then you have your battery compartment, and that battery compartment is a Torx or Starbit style head. Runs on a slightly different standard size battery. That right there is accessible, which means you don't have to remove your optic from either a pistol if you're going to take it off this and use these set screws right here and actually mount it to a slide, which is a great option. But you wouldn't have to remove this completely to get at the battery and reset that. And that's a really nice feature. And of course, the same is true when it's attached to a Picatinny rail here. I don't have to remove it. Here's where your on button would be, as well as increasing the dot brightness. It's got the plus sign there. So that's what you would press if you want to increase brightness, to increase contrast. Maybe you're shooting on a really sunny day, even against the snow. Sometimes I want to increase, and so I'll bump that up a few times, and you have multiple settings on that. And then on the other side, then on this side, you're going to have your windage. And so moving to the right is obviously with the arrow, and then moving to the right would be left. And you have your reduction. So if you want to reduce the brightness or intensity of that dot, this is the button you're going to hit for that. And also, if you want to turn it off, just hold this down for a few seconds. This is the side that has your mounting hardware if you choose to use that on a Picatinny rail. Now what I'm going to do is hit record on my spotter, and I'm going to take a few shots here just to get this guy zeroed in. I think I bore sighted it pretty darn close, but I might have to just make some minor adjustments to the elevation and windage here with my 300 Blackout. So not too far off. It looks like I need to come up a few minutes and left a few minutes. The grouping looks okay, but it went a little too far to the left, so I'll correct that, come up another minute, and that should be it. All right, this time I'm going to hold it kind of loose and see what happens. Basically, free recoil just touching my shoulder. Still on there.